Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Altitude Sickness Podcast. This is episode 4. I am Tony, and I'm being joined by Matthew and Drew. How are we all doing?
Doing pretty good. Yeah, Patriots pulled it out somehow. It was not pretty, and it will not be pretty in 2 weeks, but I'm
Yeah.
happy to be here. So,
I lost all my bets. End of
Tough.
discussion.
Very tough. Tough weekend. Yeah, touching on the Broncos super quick. Uh, not a good way to end the season. About as bad as it could have really been. But I mean, going into it knowing with a backup QB, it was not going to end well. But the weather made it much worse, and in my opinion, some questionable play calling and just bad performance. But all good. It's whatever. They were not supposed to be in the AFC Championship anyway, so I can't really be too mad with this performance. So they're at least giving us something more than the team that this podcast is about. So that's I guess I can give them that. But
you
but
got wrong.
yeah. So today, what we're gonna be talking about today. So last week we did one of the parts of last week was the starting pitching highlight group, and we just went over some of their stuff. So today we're gonna do the bullpen, which is we talked about it that this probably going into the season is the best part of the Rockies. Which again, that's not saying much, but I would say that I think this would be our strength. Because I know a few years ago, there was a lot of talk that it was the starting pitching. And I don't think that that's the case anymore at all, especially after last year. But I think the bullpen at times was at least fairly solid. And so I would say that this is probably a strength. So we're going to be going over that today. We're going to talk about free agent signings, like who we want as a free agent signing type of thing. And then we're going to close it out with our official Rockies Hall of Fame, who we think if the Rockies, which I don't know why they don't do this, I don't know how they haven't yet, but I think that they need to make a Rockies Hall of Fame just for the team. And we're going to go over players that we think should be in it or could be in it. And so I think that'll be a fun way to end the podcast. But so if we have nothing else to talk about, let's get right into the highlight group of the bullpen. So I went off of what Fangraphs has as our projected lineup thing. And so I'm just going to go down the list and see who we got. So right now it has Victor Vodnik listed as the closer. So I know a few podcasts ago, I think maybe on our first one, we talked about how we think Seth Halverson will become the closer because he was the closer last year and then he got hurt. But right now, Fangraphs has Victor Vodnik as the closer, probably because he was the best high leverage guy last year. And I think there's an argument that Jimmy Herget was too, but I don't think Jimmy Herget is going to be a closer. I don't think anyone sees him as a closer. And so Vodnik was pretty good. He had a 3 ERA in 50 innings. He was hurt a little bit at some point too, but a lot of the pitchers last year were. Something I find very standoutish with him is he had a 54.3% ground ball rate, which was the 92nd percentile. So that's he got a lot of ground balls, which is I know that's always been something previous front office have always wanted, are just ground ball pitchers. But again, with the defense that the Rockies showed last year, that's not. I don't think that can be something you're really looking for right now, is because our defense is not ideal. And so, but he was still very good at getting those ground balls. So I think that that's a pretty good plus with him. Also, we know he has the hard fastball. And so I think that anything with that is a good playoff of that fastball. And so anything else on Victor Vodnik?
No,
No.
excited to start
I love
watching
him.
him next year.
Yeah.
This is a thing I talk about every year, but it's one of the few players that has a little bit of fire.
Yeah.
It's what I like so much of Cal Quantrill and Jake Cave is that it seemed like they actually cared when things happen.
Yeah.
And so seeing that fire from your closer especially gives you confidence because those are some of the most high leverage points of the game.
For sure. I do kind of with like Seth Halverson. I feel like he to me looks a lot like more of a like a timid guy. He doesn't really get super amped up like Victor Vodnik does. Um, and so I definitely get that. But yeah, I mean, I think you do need that in at least a late inning guy, if not the closer. And who knows? Maybe this year Victor Vodnik will start as the closer or get back in that position, and maybe he'll be good. And then Seth Halverson can transition into the setup guy. It really doesn't matter. I think as long as one of those guys is in one of those positions, I think that the Rockies are in a better place. And so next up, it just goes down to Jimmy Herget, who, again, I think I said, was the best reliever and best pitcher and arguably the second best player on the team last year, I would say. He had a sub 2.5 ERA, a 2.48 ERA in 83 innings. So that's a lot of innings for a reliever. And so having that at Coors is crazy. I don't like that. Like I said earlier in a previous podcast, I think like that was like a top 10 reliever season in terms of like WAR in franchise history. And that's off of a $1 million like waiver claim or whatever, however we got him, like a free agent or minor league deal or whatever it was. Like, it's insane. And so his standout thing is that his curveball was insane. Like, he had a really good curveball. At a 161 expected batting average with a 263 slug. And then it got a 33.6% whiff percentage, which you don't really need to know what a lot of that really means. That's just a third of the time people are swinging and missing at a curveball, which is pretty good, especially from his like funky arm angle, because that's the big thing that he has is he's like a submarine pitcher. And so I just foresee him being a seventh inning guy. I foresee him being the in a close game in the sixth inning, he'll come in right in that seventh inning and I guess just be a good playoff of whoever that starter is before him. So
it's really surprising seeing his curveball be his highlight, considering curveballs just don't work at Coors like other pitches do.
And I think a big thing because of that is because he throws sidearm, it acts more as like a slider. It's got more slider depth, I believe. It's a shorter spinned curveball to where it's got a tighter curve, which I know we have horror stories of Tyler Kinley, but something that he actually succeeded with early in his Rockies tenure was his slider, because it acted as a drop down, a vertical slider, not a horizontal one. And that's similar to how Jimmy Herget's curveball works, is it's very vertical and it's tight spinning. And so I think that's just a big plus. And I think hopefully he can continue to build on that in this next year. And so, Drew, you got anything on good old Jim?
I mean, he had a phenomenal year.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of the few guys that comes out and you're really confident that he's going to get out of the inning without giving up a run.
Yeah.
Which the bullpen was good last year compared to the other 2 seasons that I've really watched the Rockies. Mm-hmm. So, and also his arm angle, just his pitching style, and then pairing, like if you throw him in the 6th and the 7th inning. I didn't need to do that.
No, that's fine.
You can go Vodnik in the 8th and set up, and then Halverson in the 9th, and just the variation and the difference between Herget and Vodnik will throw hitters off, and the Rockies are at a serious advantage for that.
Yeah, I know something that I've thought about too is like, what if you did it to where it was 7th inning was Vodnik, 8th inning was Herget, 9th inning was Halverson. So you're hitting them hard, then soft, and then hard again. Like, that could be something that Schaefer mixes in with. But again, that's just we'll have to see how they want to use him. I think a big thing too though is that I don't foresee him being a super high leverage guy, but he was pretty good last year in it, so who knows. But if we got nothing else, then next up I've got Juan Mejia, who I think I said this last podcast was probably the most underrated, I think, player on the Rockies last year. He was really good. He had a 3.96 ERA in 61 innings, which again, that's more than I thought. He pitched more than Vodnik did, which is insane to think about. And he's got average. So his standout stat for me is his average exit velo. So the average velocity of the ball that is hit off of him was 85.8, which was 99th percentile. So he does not allow hard contact, which obviously is going to be huge if you're going to be pitching for the Rockies at Coors Field. And so I think a lot of that was just he had a really good off-speed mix, and then he throws a decently hard fastball. And he had a 30% whiff rate too. So again, he's getting almost a third of pitches he's throwing are getting swung and missed on. So he's got good stuff. So I like that a lot for him. Again, it's kind of weird. I think this year will be a very interesting year for him because I don't know where they would want to use him. Like, I think he's going to be the backup closer or backup setup man. That's where I foresee him being, which is fine because he's good, and I think that that's a good place for him. And so, but yeah, that's all I've got on Juan Mejia. Anybody else?
I'm not going to beat a dead horse, but I didn't realize how good of a season he had until I looked at his stats after the year was over, which is really nice to see out of a young guy too.
Yeah, he's pretty young.
He's still got time to develop.
Yeah, for sure. Matthew, you got anything?
No, yeah. I kind of feel the same way with Drew. It's kind of one I didn't really realize was doing so well throughout the year, and looking back on it, he was pretty solid. Which, to be fair, I mean, if a reliever is coming out there and you're like, it's not super memorable, it probably means they did their job.
Yeah, it's the thing. Yeah,
You know?
the best relievers are the ones you don't talk about. Like the ones that don't bring up conversation, usually those are the guys that you like. So
exactly, that's how I feel.
Mm-hmm. So next up, we got Seth Halverson. We've talked. I mean, he's kind of just been. I think he's been mentioned in every single other one. He is the guy that's I foresee being our future closer. Like, this dude throws so hard. He got hurt a little bit last year, and then when he came back, it was just a rough ride, I think, because he started the year really good, and I think it was just it got derailed a little bit by the injuries. He had about a 5 ERA and about 40 innings. A big thing for him is he's got, like, really good extension, so that's just how far the ball is released, like how close it is to home plate. So if you reach far, that's good extension. He has 7 feet of extension, which is 91st percentile. And then again, 29.4% whiff rate. So he's getting a lot of swing and miss. And he's got elite extension, and he already throws over 100 miles an hour. So a 100 mile an hour fastball at 7 foot of extension probably looks like 102. So if he could just dial that in, get a little less wild, because that's just usually how it goes when you throw that hard, is you're a little bit more wild. If he can dial that in, I don't see why he could not be our closer. So I'm hoping that no injuries this year, a healthy year, and he'll be able to be more consistent and keep that going this year. So,
yeah, that's a really surprising statistic that he is the 91st percentile of extension. Like, he's not small. I actually just looked this up. That's really surprising that he's 6'2".
yeah.
He looks a lot shorter when he's on the field.
He does just
But
look
even,
yeah.
There are pitchers out there that are 6'5" and don't have as good of extension, so the fact that he's able to do that at 6'2" is pretty impressive.
He gets
Especially with his
down the
velocity.
mound. He really gets down the mound. And again, yeah, pair that with already throwing triple digits. Yeah, it's insane how it's good. That's very good for him. So hopefully he'll be able to harness it a little bit and keep it going this year. And so next up, we got Brennan Bernardino. So this is the guy the Rockies traded for. They traded outfielder Braden Ward in our minor league system. I think he just got called up to AAA at the end of last year, and we just sent him out. That, again, this goes a little bit deeper than just him, really quick, than just Bernardino, because, again, this means that this new front office is looking at guys that we have and trading away things that the former front office may have seen as an asset to keep. We saw that with the Jake McCarthy trade, trading away Josh Groves, who we just received in a trade. And clearly there was They didn't see what potential he had, and they moved him. Braden Ward, he was a very good minor league player who was a solid defender and had a solid bat, and we move him because we have a lot of outfield depth, and you get it. You receive something that we need, especially a left-handed reliever, which is something that the Rockies have always lacked, and right now he is currently the only left-handed reliever. Last year, he was pretty good. He had a 3.14 ERA in 50 innings. And the same thing, and similar to how Juan Mejia was, his hard hit percentage is 35.8, and so a pretty solid hard hit percentage. Not a big strikeout guy. That's one thing that's kind of interesting. He's not a huge strikeout guy, but again, I'm just assuming that the Rockies defense will play at least a little bit better. Last year, they were historically bad, especially to start the year, and I do not foresee that happening quite as much this year. So, especially when Tovar can be on the field for the most year. What was that, Matthew?
It felt like a flip last year with just how bad their defense was.
Yeah,
so
no.
I don't think last year is a super great way of kind of telling how their defense is going to be, because we have some really good defenders. It just everyone kind of was playing bad at the same time. So I think that our pitchers will do a lot better this year with the non-strikeout ones. I mean,
yeah,
like Bernardino and Herget and those sorts of pitchers.
Yep. So,
Nice to have a lefty.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, they
agree.
need
If we didn't sign him, we wouldn't have anybody.
The closest one would be Luis Peralta, who we know has struggled mightily, especially last year. And so hopefully that Luis Peralta can do well in the minor leagues, fix whatever he's got to fix, and come up so we can at least have two maybe. But for now, it's all on Bernardino to be that left-handed guy coming in. So
yeah, even if Bernardino had Fangraphs projections of a 4.52 ERA in the Rockies bullpen, that would still be great to see.
Yeah, no, I think with the
even if he takes a dip, which he's probably going to,
yeah, I foresee that. I think the thing is with especially relievers at Coors, you've got to temper the expectations a bit. Like other teams that play at sea level, a reliever with a 3.5 ERA probably is a back of the bullpen guy. A 3.5 ERA, you are probably our best pitcher and our closer. That's just how it goes. And so, because you just, it's a different game. It truly is a different game at Coors. You allow more runs, more hits happen. That's how it goes. And so, I think a mid-4 ERA for a middle inning reliever guy, I think is going to be pretty solid. Oh, this next one. Antonio Senzatella. So, it's really hard to put into words how bad of a season Antonio Senzatella had last year. Also considering he is our third highest player currently on the team, third or fourth. Last year he had a 6.65 ERA in 130 innings. One of the only things I found with him is his pull error percentage, so the amount of fly balls that get pulled is less than average, and he only walks 7.6% of batters, which is okay, that's fine. But other than that, if you looked at his Savant page, it is all blue. Pretty much everything is blue. And there are multiple stats that are blue is bad, and multiple stats that are in the first percentile. I think I saw at least 3, but there might be more. And it's just hard to say. I also do think he got bit a little hard with bad defense not playing well with him. There's got to be some of that. However, you don't get a 6.65 ERA the way he was pitching without it also being falling on him. And I don't necessarily want this to just be me ragging on him. But I think it just has to be said that he had a very, very hard, tough year last year. And I'm just hoping that this year he can find a little bit more success, most likely as a long reliever. I'm assuming that's how you have to use him. Probably in either blowout games or games where the starter gets hurt early or something like that. That's where Antonio Senzatella is coming in. He's going to be the mop-up guy, and I think that's just where they have to pitch him because I do not think you can pitch him in the rotation if he pitches anywhere near to how he did last year. So,
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah, if you saw my grades last week, I'm not going to say anything further.
Yeah,
it's enough.
I think we've ragged on this guy enough for one podcast. So,
I hope he figures it out. I hope he.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like
at least comes back to what we paid him for.
Give us like we said with Bernardino, give us a 4.5 ERA and we're happy with that. That's a massive improvement. So that's all we're needing.
I'm very happy with that. I would be very happy with a consistent Senzatella.
Mm-hmm.
If you go back, like even his best starts, where he would have like 5 hits in 5 innings with like 1 earned run, which is a great start. We watched the ball get mashed.
And
it just happened to go. It happened to go right in the fielder's glove.
I will never forget. It was during that first series against the Rays. Antonio Senzatella's start. I mean, I have never seen that many balls get hit that hard and not produce runs. It was insane how like our defense played immaculately that game. And that's the thing is I think that just throughout the year, obviously our defense did not play that well for a majority of the year, and that's what bit him. So, but here's the hoping he can get a little bit better and figure it out a bit going into 2026. So, next up, so we got the last 2 guys. Again, this is just according to Fangraphs. The last 2 guys we got RJ Petit. They're both 2 guys we have last are both only pitched in the minor leagues last year. So RJ Petit. So this is the dude we got off the Rule 5 draft from the Tigers. This dude is like 6'8", like 280 pounds or something like that. This dude is just a beast. And I find it just ironic that his last name is Petit. That's just funny. But also, he's pretty good. He had a 2.74 ERA in only 23 innings. I think he was hurt. I think he was just hurt all of last year. But he struck out 35% of the batters he faced, and he had a 32% whiff percentage. You can't not love that. And I think something that I found, correct me if I'm wrong if you guys have it up, I don't think he throws particularly crazy hard. I don't think it was that.
I think he's upper. I think he's upper. I think he's like 97.
Yeah, like probably max 97. So like for a guy that big, he doesn't throw that hard, but I think he's got pretty good off-speed stuff. And so like we like that. Like the only thing again is that because he's a Rule 5, he has to stay on the major league roster the whole year, otherwise he goes back to the Tigers at the end of the year. And so he's got a spot solidified in the bullpen now. So and hopefully he'll be able to thrive in that position. So, but we'll see. Like, there's not really much to go off of because he did not pitch in the majors last year. So that's all we got with him. Just hoping for good luck with him. So, and then the last one,
all-time vibes player.
Yeah,
for sure. Being 6'8", like 300 pounds, and your last name being Petit.
Yep, for sure.
All-time
vibe. Yep, for sure.
Yeah.
And then last guy.
Fun.
Huh? What was that, Matthew?
It'll be fun. It'll be fun having him there. I mean,
yeah.
I don't think he's ever pitched in the majors before.
I do not believe so. I do not believe he has. So
that's interesting.
Yep. So last guy we got Keegan Thompson. So this was the guy we claimed off waivers from the Reds. He pitched for the Cubs last year, the Cubs minor league affiliate last year. He had a 4.5 ERA in 64 innings. And he had a 30% strikeout rate with a 31% whiff rate. So both the guys we got, at least in the minor leagues, they strike out a lot of dudes. Like, that's a big thing that the Rockies front office looked for with these guys, I think, was that they have strikeout stuff. Which, like, it's so funny because that just seems so obvious to get, and yet that is such a new idea for the Rockies. It's kind of just insane. It feels really weird to be this hype about the Rockies front office going for people that can strike people out. But that just shows you the state of the Rockies front office prior to this year, prior to this off season. And so I like that move. I think this move's good. Again, pitched only in the minor leagues last year, but he had major league time in 23 and 24, I believe, and he was pretty solid. Like, he's a pretty solid, probably middle reliever, I foresee. And so I foresee him filling the same role that like a Jaden Hill did last year, which notably, he's not on this roster. He's not on the Fangraphs projected depth chart. And so I think that's just because we have both Keegan Thompson and RJ Petit. And so, but we'll see how it shakes out. And so, but yeah, does anyone else have anything on Keegan Thompson?
No, I just think throughout this, I mean, this is a solid looking bullpen, a really like a solidly exciting bullpen. Like I feel, I don't know, this bullpen feels good.
Yeah,
Feels nice.
Yeah. If this bullpen can stay healthy, that's the most important part that the Rockies have always dealt with their pitching staff the last few years. That just injuries are making people pitch more innings than they should, and so it just snowballs from April all the way to the end of the year.
Yeah.
So I think if this bullpen stays healthy throughout the year, which is probably not going to happen. But if they can, they're going to be the strong point of this team this season.
Yeah, I think on paper, the bullpen is the strongest point of the Rockies, and so, like you said, I think there will be times this year that the depth will be tested because that's how it goes with every year. And I think they have a little bit of depth, but they don't have a lot. And so, because again, this isn't mentioning people like Zach Agnos, who I think can be better. I think he got kind of screwed over by a lot of injuries last year. I mentioned him earlier, Jaden Hill. I think he just did not have a set role, and so I think he found trouble having consistent time. And so, hopefully, again, Luis Peralta can have a bounce-back year and be better. And so, I foresee this being a better bullpen than last year. Hopefully. That's just assuming people can stay not hurt. And so, but I think that's all we got really on the bullpen. I don't think there's much else to talk about with that. So, to get into the next one. So the next part. So we got free agents for the Rockies. We would like at least the free agents for the Rockies to sign. And so this isn't going to be that long. It's just going to be a quick little thing. I've just got a few names here. So something I think what I can tell from a lot of people on like the internet with the Rockies, Twitterverse or whatever, there's two names that I'm seeing be like, this is who the Rockies absolutely should sign. At least one of these two. And that is Luis Arraez or Paul Goldschmidt. And I think of the two, I think Luis Arraez has to be the Rockies' number one priority right now if they want to sign a free agent at first base. If that's their plan, which I think from what it sounds like that is what the front office wants, I think you go for Luis Arraez. Like, this dude, I think once you sign him, he's gonna win a batting title hitting half his games at Coors Field. Like, there's no way. I would be shocked if he doesn't. This dude, and it's something that the Rockies, they strike out more than almost any other team in baseball. And Luis Arraez strikes out less than anyone in baseball. So I think it's a match made in heaven. I think it just makes sense. And then on top of that, he has positional versatility. So when Charlie Condon is ready to go, hopefully by the end of this year, at the latest, hopefully at some point in this year, you can move Luis Arraez to second or to third or DH even. You can move him wherever, or if you really want, you could even flip him at the trade deadline if he's playing that well and you think other people want him. So I just think it just makes sense here.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we saw last year that adding a contact first batter like Tyler Freeman helped the Rockies a ton.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, Luis Ariz isn't gonna hit 30 home runs, but he's gonna get on base, which is what the Rockies have struggled with.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it goes a little bit deeper with his strikeout rate, where he never strikes out,
Yeah.
because pitchers build confidence on striking people out.
Yes.
And when the Rockies will start and the pitcher gets like 5 strikeouts in the first 3 or 4 innings, that guy's got a ton of momentum and a ton of confidence going in, which only makes it more difficult to get on base.
Yep.
I agree.
And so having a guy there like Tyler Freeman, I think he had a pretty low strikeout rate last
Yes.
year. Could be wrong,
He did.
No,
but that's
he
what it
did.
felt
He was-
like. And pairing him with Arise, that's two guys who probably aren't going to strike out. And so that just helps the other batters in the lineup a ton.
Yeah.
Getting more people on base is going to give us more scoring opportunities
Mhm.
and just going to give us more confidence at the plate. Even if we, it sucks if we are striking out, but at least like we're getting, like, if we're able to get people on, that's better than having 3 up, 3 down every time.
Yeah. And then I think another thing that's really good with this is that he's a lefty. That's something the Rockies, they don't have a lot of them right now. I believe that they have Mickey Moniak. They now have Jake McCarthy, who's another guy that does not strike out a lot. He's a contact guy, and so I think that just makes more sense to get more of these guys that can hit, just get hit, like hit the ball more. Like that's all you got to do, just make more contact. And so I just think this makes sense. It fits perfectly. The only thing is that you'll have to probably pay him a little bit more than maybe they want to, but also this front office has shown they're willing to spend. I mean, they've already got the 2 free agents that we have. We've spent, what was it, $8 million for Lorenzen and $6 million for, I guess, this year for Willie Castro. So that's already 15 mil or 14 mil. Like, come on, just add another. Like, I do think Luis Ariz, his market value is what, like 14 million, we said, I think is.
Yeah, it was 14.
So I think the Rockies would probably have to sign him for like 15. I think it'd have to be like a $15 million deal. And I'm assuming he's going to want more than just a 1 year. So if you do a 2 or 3 year deal, I think that that's fine. Because again, if you trade him, that's honestly a better deal because then the other team would get him for that long. So you could get a better prospect package for him. It just makes sense. So the next one I talked about was Paul Goldschmidt. So another guy that doesn't strike out a lot, but he has a lot more power, and he also adds a big veteran presence. So there's an off the field thing too with him. And on top of it, he demolishes at Coors Field. He is a very, very good hitter at Coors Field. Granted, he's had to just face Rockies pitching, but I think that him playing half his games at Coors is going to help bring a better version out of him. Because last year, even with the Yankees, he was used, I think, primarily as a left-handed specialist, or I guess a left-handed pitching, like, platoon guy. And he crushed lefties. And, like, if that's what you want to do with him, totally fine. If you sign him and then you have someone like Troy Johnston, you have him being the lefty when there's a righty pitching or whatever. And even then, I think Paul Goldschmidt's still probably a better hitter against righties. And so that's fine with me. I think this is another one. This would be one that I think would be more of along the lines of a 1 year deal. I do not foresee this being a multi-year deal because I think at this point he's got to a point in his career where I think he has one tough season left and then he's done. And so I think that the Rockies would be a pretty good fit. I think it would fit pretty well. Need a first baseman, need a veteran presence. And I think that it would be pretty cool to see Paul Goldschmidt do that. So
one of my favorite players in 2022 was CJ Cron, and I feel like Paul Goldschmidt kind of fits that.
They are
scratches that itch.
They are pretty similar players in terms of that. Except I think, like I said, like Paul Goldschmidt does have a little bit. He doesn't strike out quite as much. So, but I think that would be a pretty cool signing. I think that would be a good signing.
I think that Paul Goldschmidt. I don't know if he's necessarily in a Hall of Famer, but I mean he's
he's probably close. He's probably fairly close. I don't know for sure the stats. I don't know
yeah. I
where he's
mean
at, but
MVP runner up,
he won MVP in
minimum 20 in like 8 of the last 10 years or something. Like he's when he's been there, he's been very good.
He's a very consistent player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
I mean, who else would be better to be a mentor for Charlie Condon than Paul Goldschmidt?
No, yeah.
So
That I think is honest.
I think that timing works out.
that's the most important part.
I think that
His
is
timing
a
works
big.
out too.
That would be a big reason why you sign him, is because he is that veteran that can be there. Because I think this is a little bit of a throwback. I don't think you were there quite yet for it, Drew. But Matthew, one signing that was kind of underrated, not really looked at like a big thing, but helped even just for a little bit at the end of the season, was Jose Iglesias. He was a mentor for Ezequiel Tovar when he was first called up in 2022. And I think that was awesome, because I think at first Jose Iglesias was just going to be the shortstop to fill in until Tovar was ready after Story left. But then we called up Tovar with like 3 weeks left in the season, or however long it was, and Jose Iglesias took a back seat. He said, he's not playing anymore. Tovar is starting now, and I'm going to be here to help him. And I think that would be exactly what I would like to see Paul Goldschmidt do with Charlie Condon. I think that is perfect, and I love that. I love that idea.
I think if the Rockies signed either of the two guys we just talked about, I think I've been kind of maybe a little bit hesitant on DePodesta so far.
Mm-hmm.
But I think either of those signings would make me a DePodesta believer.
Yeah, I would be very, very happy with either of those.
Yeah,
for sure.
Those would be exciting, and they're not long-term deals. You're not really giving up too much by signing them. Like I think it's a good solid risk with pretty good return.
Mm-hmm. I would agree.
And if you look at the Rockies payroll, that they could spend more money.
Yeah, they got room to move. They got room.
Like if you take Chris Bryan away, then they got a lot of money to spend.
Yeah.
We don't got to get into that. But yeah. So yeah, I agree with that. And then last one.
I have kind of a fun. Oh, sorry.
Go.
You go. My bad.
I was gonna move on to the next guy. If this is about Paul Goldschmidt.
Go ahead.
No, it's not about Paul Goldschmidt. It was the next one. But you go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, the next guy, what's the term? I was gonna say utility player, but that's not it. Position player. That's the term. Last position player we got is Rhys Hoskins. So, pretty much, I think if we're doing a grade here, I think Luis Arraez A+, Paul Goldschmidt A. I think Rhys Hoskins is like a B, like a solid B. I would like Rhys Hoskins. I think he's just not quite as good. And I think with him is that what you would be doing there is you're buying a bounce back year. That's what you're selling for. Is you're saying, hey, Rhys, we're going to give you a 1-year deal worth $7 million. I don't know how much it is. I'm just throwing that out there. Let's say a 1-year, $8 million deal, however much it is. And you're saying, go, this is your prove it. Just if you have a good year, you're getting shipped out halfway through the year for a prospect package. What are those eyes, Drew? Is it higher than I'm saying? What is it?
So his contract is a 2-year contract with the Brewers.
Yes. Is he still in the contract?
Contract has it through 2026.
Oh, so is he not a free agent?
Also says he's a free agent.
Oh,
it says he's a free agent, but it also says it's through 2026.
Was it a mutual option? It may have been a mutual option or something like that. They must have opted out. Something happened.
It was the contract that he was on was 2 years, $34 million.
Ooh, I do not foresee the Rockies spending that.
No, thank you.
Yeah. So
no, thank you.
Never mind. I do not foresee that. I do not foresee him.
17 mil for a couple
Rockies are not.
Those were those eyes, Tony.
Yeah, Rockies.
That's what it was.
Rockies are not signing Rhys Hoskins for 17 mil. There's no way. So, never mind with that. Moving on. So, Maybe not a B. Maybe more like a D, like a C. I'll give it a C because he's still a good hitter. I'll say that, but I don't know if he's worth 17.
I hope he gets a bounce back here. It
Hope it's
shouldn't
not.
be with the Rockies.
Or if it is, it's for like
Yeah.
$8 million. So he just takes a significant pay cut to play for us. So, all right. And then we got two pitchers
Just
here.
for the fun.
We got two pitchers. We got two starters. And I think these also, first of all, I think they'd be good signings, good veteran presence, but also I think it'd just be fun. I think it'd be super cool. You got Max Scherzer or Justin Verlander. If you had either of those dudes in Rockies purple, I am buying a jersey. I am. Like, that's happening. Because that is the funniest thing ever would be seeing, especially I think Max Scherzer. I think I'd want Max Scherzer more than anyone. Seeing Max Scherzer with how fiery and how amped up that dude gets, being on the Colorado Rockies, I think would be hilarious. And I think that would be awesome.
The funniest thing ever would be that he would not even have to pitch a single ball and be the greatest Rockies pitcher ever.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. And you know how I feel about players that play with passion. So
Yeah.
fire, yeah.
You know I
It
love
would be exciting.
Max Scherzer.
It would be fun.
I mean, there would be a different vibe, I think, every day that he would be pitching. Like, it would be like, yeah, we're winning this game. I mean,
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
even
what
how
a
fun
way!
it
What a way to show a change.
Yeah.
Show a change from last year, and really kind of put your foot on the ground. Like, this is not happening again. This is what we want to change.
yeah, every
And
fifth
this
day
is what
we are having someone that can go out there and win us a game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think what we talked about with Paul Goldschmidt is the mentorship he can provide for Dollander, who is another high draft pick that we really want to succeed,
Yes.
who needs help going into this year. And I guess we'll see with the new pitching staff if that really helps him a lot, which I think it will, considering there's almost nowhere else you can go but up.
Mm-hmm.
But I think adding either of those guys would be amazing for the future of the Rockies just for having Dollander there.
Yeah.
And Scherzer's contract last year was $15.5 million, and Verlander was 15. And if the Rockies signed them each for either of them for like 16 or even 17, like I wouldn't be upset.
I think with those guys for sure, you got to be willing to shell out a pretty penny, and especially because again, these are two older dudes, two veteran guys who are, they are first ballot Hall of Famers. They're not going to want to just go out there to pitch for like mercy, like a mercy hire. That's not what they're going to do. They're going to still go out there, give it their all, but expect to be paid. And I think that is what the Rockies would have to be willing to do. But again, like we said, they have money. They've got money to move. So I think that they would have enough to sign one of these guys. And I think either of them would be awesome. Like, it really doesn't matter. I think either of them would be pretty cool. Just seeing either of those dudes in a Rockies uniform would just make me so happy.
Awesome.
I think
it would be
funny.
uncanny, like seeing like Matt Kemp in a Rockies jersey or something.
That's a weird. Yeah, Matt Kemp. That was a weird.
Yeah.
2020 was a weird time. It was a weird time.
Yeah.
Oh man. But yeah. So, I mean, besides that, I think last thing we got to talk about is our Rockies Hall of Fame. And this is a little note before we get into this. So Rockies Fest was this weekend. So, and from all accounts, I'm pretty sure it was like a big success. It was awesome. I think there were over like 4,500 people there, which is cool. Like, for a team that almost broke the record for the worst record in all of history, the fact that the Rockies Fest still had that many people out there and there was still that much hype with it, I mean, it just shows you that Denver's a good sports town, and the Rockies fans care, even if it doesn't seem like it. So, and a big news came from it was that Larry Walker and Todd Helton statues are coming to Coors Field, which is awesome. I am a massive fan of that. I mean, it had to happen. I think the fact that it's taken this long is crazy, but I think that that's really cool. So, but yeah, that's.
I start?
Huh?
Can I start the Rockies Hall of Fame?
Yeah, go ahead.
Since this will probably be my only input,
Okay.
because I'm going on my 4th season as a fan.
Yeah.
and it hasn't been the greatest 4 seasons of all time.
No, actually, it's been
Probably
some of the worst.
But the person I will highlight that needs to be in the Rockies Hall of Fame is Drew Goodman.
Yeah.
With all of the poor games that were played, how can you day in and day out still talk about anything? You know, a lot of the time it wasn't about the Rockies, but how do you even talk about anything at that point and still be enthusiastic and excited when good things happen, even when the Rockies are down and out pretty early? Like, even if Rockies are losing 8-0 and somebody hits a home run, then you know his infamous quote is going to be said, and he's still excited.
Yep.
So he needs to be in there over
Absolutely.
most of the list.
Yeah, I agree. I agree that he'd be first ballot Hall of Famer for that. Yes.
Awesome. I love that.
I agree.
You can go ahead. That's all I got.
Yeah. So yeah, the list we got, it's just, we got like no doubters, we got probablys, maybes, long shots, and then we just got some vibe guys who I think they wouldn't actually make it, but they're the people that I think our personal one, this is who would be in it. So we said already Drew Goodman. So I think it's a little obvious, the two, I just mentioned them. I think Todd Helton and Larry Walker, you can't make a Rockies Hall of Fame and not start with them. I mean, those two are the franchise. They're the franchise guys, the two actual Hall of Famers. Yeah, they're going to be in the Rockies Hall of Fame, no doubt. It's kind of obvious. So, for sure, those guys. The next two, a little more contentious, but I do think they have to be in the Hall of Fame, are Troy Tulowitzki and Nolan Arenado. Again, you want to talk about franchise guys. Those two were franchise guys that just didn't end their career in Colorado. I mean, and they should have. They really should have. Both Troy Tulowitzki and Nolan absolutely should have been Rockies for life. And it's honestly just botched front office decisions is what led to problems. I mean, I don't know if you guys know the tale of how, like, Troy Tulowitzki, it was in the middle of a meaningless game in 15? And he got pulled from the game in, like, the top of the 9th inning and was told, out of nowhere, blindsided, that he was traded to the Toronto Blue Jays. And he said he was not told at all, even though he was told by Jeff Bridich, or it may not have been Jeff Bridich at that point, but he was told by the front office that he would be, like, kept up to date with everything, and he was completely blindsided, and he has yet to still forgive the team, which I do not blame him. But in all fairness, I don't know what the team has done to, like, warrant any forgiveness. I don't know if they've reached out or done anything. So, but, and then with Nolan, we all know the tale of Nolan at this point. Jeff Bridich made him sign a contract, made him put opt-outs in it because he didn't actually want to pay him that long. And then when Jeff Bridich knew that the public was going to know something's up and Arenado wanted out, he had to just come up with a terrible trade package that obviously did not pan out for the Rockies, though in my opinion it also didn't really pan out for the Cardinals either, but that's neither here nor there. But either way, I say that, but still, I think Nolan absolutely should be in the Hall of Fame for the Rockies Hall of Fame. And then next three, I feel like they've got to be. I mean, you got Charlie Blackmon, he was here for 14 years or something like that. Absolutely deserves to be in the Rockies Hall of Fame. Probably the most well-known Rocky in the last probably 7 or 8 years, I would say. Just because, it was the guy with the beard is probably how everybody knew him. The outfielder with the beard that could just hit, and it really hit me last year, like how much I miss watching him play already. It makes me so sad that I will never be able to see that man play baseball again, because he was by far my favorite player for a very long time, and it's honestly hard to think that I won't be able to watch him play. But that's just that's how retirement goes. But absolutely Hall of Famer. Next one, Carlos Gonzalez. I think the same thing. Played 10 years with the Rockies in the mid-2010s. And, I mean, there was a point where he was a top, 3 outfielder in baseball for multiple years. He was insanely good. His run from 2010 through 2016 was absolutely insane. He was like a four-tool. He was a true four-tool guy because he had an amazing glove. He had very good speed. He was a stolen base threat. He had insane power, and he could hit for contact, like hit for average. Absolutely insane. Yes, deserves Hall of Fame. And then arguably the best pitcher in Rockies history, Ubaldo Jimenez. Threw the only no-hitter in Rockies history. Absolutely got to be a Hall of Famer. Doesn't really need much else said. Is a Rockies Hall of Famer for sure. So does anyone else have any no-doubters that I might be forgetting?
Let me check real quick.
None that you want to hear come from me.
Okay.
No, I think all of my no-doubters are exactly the same as yours. I guess
that's a reason that they're no-doubters.
The only one was, the only one I have is you haven't probably. So.
Okay. So probably here we got the just probablys. I have Trevor Story. I think because what he meant for those two playoff runs, I think he has to be, I think, in it. And then also like his historic start to his career where he hit 4 home runs in he hit a home run in his first 4 MLB games, 2 in his debut off of Zach Greinke. I think he should be a Rockies Hall of Famer probably. And for the same reason, like Matt Holliday started his career with the Rockies, was very good. And I mean, he led us through October. He slid in on game 163 in 2007. Absolutely, I think deserves to be Hall of Fame. And hopefully his son will become the next franchise icon, but we will see how that works out. Another probably is Vinny Castilla. I think just because he's kind of stuck around with the team for a long time as a mentor guy, as a bench coach. So I think Vinny Castilla for sure, I think is a probably because he was also just part of those like older Rockies days that I think a lot of people like know, like the Blake Street Bomber type of things. Like those are for sure. And I think he's the most well-known of those guys besides like Larry Walker. And then I've got Kyle Freeland. I think simply because what he did in 2018, honestly, again, like we can look back now and say, yeah, he's been not good for the last 3 years or whatever. But what he did in 2018 was insane. And I think he's just been there for the Rockies his whole career, not really dealt with a lot of injuries. And he's been mostly consistent. Last year kind of was rough, but for the most part, he's been a pretty consistent pitcher. And I think there's another argument that he could be the best pitcher in Rockies history. So I think for sure probably. So those are my 4 guys.
Yeah. That was the one that I had in no doubter for mine. But
okay. Do you got anybody, Drew?
But yeah.
No.
None that you want to hear.
Okay. And then I got maybes. So this one I've got German Marquez. I think kind of the same thing a little bit. Like I think he had a little bit more of a rough few years than Kyle Freeland did, but when he was good, I mean, he's went to the All-Star game as a Rocky. Like not a lot of Rockies pitchers do that, so that's got to account for something. So that's cool. Another maybe I think DJ LeMahieu is another guy that through those middle 2010s years, he was always there, consistent. That was the start of the downfall, I think, in 2019, was not re-signing him. They absolutely should have. I think that's just what started it. And so, yeah. Another maybe I've got is Ryan McMahon. I have him because I do think he's kind of just been there for a while. That one probably should be more in long shot, but I think, it's fine. I think it works. He kind of filled in when Nolan wasn't there, but,
yeah,
it's whatever. And then last maybe I've got Jorge De La Rosa. So another pitcher, longtime Rockies pitcher in the mid-2010s, who was honestly kind of just a lefty Kyle Freeland. Just a Kyle Freeland, I guess. Because like he's very similar in a lot of ways. Wasn't a huge strikeout guy, but he did get a lot of them just because he pitched for so long with the Rockies. He was consistent, was out there a lot. I think for sure is fine. Then long shots. I've got Dexter Fowler just because I kind of just Always liked Dexter Fowler as a kid. Thought he was a fun player to
He's
watch.
the best.
And then I just threw in Hunter Goodman because he had the best catching season in Rockies history. He's probably the only catcher that would ever be in it, other than maybe Chris Iannetta, who would probably be in a maybe or a long shot. And then I've also got Adam Ottavino. I think another Rockies reliever that was a mainstay for a while and was very good. And then I've got two announcers in the long shot one. I've got Ryan Spilborghs, I've got Spilly, and I have Jeff Hewson. I think both of them, honestly, probably deserve to be in it because they're, again, two of the guys that make the broadcasts fun to watch because half the time the product on the field is not. So that's what I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd probably also add the Rockies radio announcers. I cannot for the life of me
I know
ever remember
Jack
their names.
Corrigan and the other one. I forgot the other one's name. But yeah, both of those guys for sure.
Both of them are awesome.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Radio broadcast
great
guys are
announcers.
awesome. So, and then we got vibe guys. So these are where I think, Drew, you're gonna have a few guys. I'm gonna go first again. I think CJ Crone has to be there. Like, I think we talked about it. Unsung hero of the start of the 2020s for the Rockies. That dude single-handedly carried those teams from being just utter garbage and not worth watching. And then I'm always going to have a special place in my heart for Scott Oberg. I've always loved Scott Oberg. I will never forget watching him get the final out in the wild card game in 2018. I will never forget that moment, and mainly because it was by Scott Oberg. So he absolutely, big shout out to that guy. So that's who I've got on my vibe list. So if you guys have anyone else.
Matthew, you can go first.
To be honest, no, I actually don't.
Okay, this is where I step in. I'm a very good vibe reader. First up, first ballot vibe guy, who I've already mentioned today, is Jake Cave.
Yeah. I would agree.
Talk about a journeyman baseball player that comes in and still wants to win.
Yeah.
And we saw in the most key points of games in the 2024 season that he was the only one that looked like he cared about what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like there's different personalities and stuff, but it was clear that he was the fire of their team along with another person I'm going to talk about here in a second.
Mm-hmm.
But it was refreshing, I guess I'll say.
Yeah.
And then the second guy, Cal Quantrill. Another guy who brought the fire, especially in an injury-prone and overall not very good starting rotation.
Mm-hmm.
He was okay for the Rockies. Like, would I take him today with his 2024 statistics to repeat that? Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
To be like a fifth guy. But again, he was the only guy that really brought any fire to the mound. And so, again, it was just really refreshing, and it was fun to watch. It was just fun to watch.
Yeah. I mean, that's why you get the vibe guys.
I think those are really my main two that I can think of off the top of my head. But I think if we're thinking potential vibe guys, Zach Agnos is gonna find it.
Yeah. I
He's
think
gonna be on the list.
I think Zach Agnos for sure has got that. I think with the mustache that he's rocking, I think you could throw maybe Victor Vodnik in there. I think those two both, I think they've got a fun vibe. And I would like to see them become like in that list, vibe guys for sure. So I would agree with that.
As their confidence grows this season, we're gonna see more and more of that.
Mm-hmm.
Which Zach Agnos was great before he got hurt.
Yeah.
I want to point out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it. That's all I got. That's all I can think off the top of the dome. So.
Yep. That's fair, and I like that list. I think I agree with it for the most part. I agree with that, yeah. So, got anything, Matthew?
No. That's I agree with all of that. That's exciting. Maybe Jordan Beck can find his groove.
I'd love it, but we'll see. I hope so. I really hope so. But we'll just have to see how it goes. So. Well,
but yeah, it's exciting. I mean, I don't know. I'm looking forward to it.
Yep.
I'm going to be sorely disappointed, but we'll see. 25 days till spring training.
That's insane. It's insane to think about.
Yeah.
We're getting closer. So soon we'll have stuff to talk about that has to do with things going on currently rather than just hypotheticals. So, but
yeah, exactly.
I think that's all I've got. If you guys have anything else.
Nope.
All right.
See you next week.
Yep, sounds good. Every single time I say this, we're like, "Oh, we'll make the podcast shorter." This one is now an hour. So, here we go. It just keeps going, man. I got to shorten these segments or something. I got to figure something out. We're still getting in a groove here. So, but until next week, thank you guys so much for watching and listening. Check us out on Spotify now, by the way. It's on Spotify, so that's cool. But all right, I will thank you guys very much for listening and watching, and we'll see y'all next time. Bye, and go Rockies.